The movie begins showing a beautiful woman named Sanya, who works as a magazine journalist. The magazine's chief editor is a woman named Claudia, who plans to retire this year because she is getting old. In order to have someone to replace her, Claudia chooses to stage a competition between Sanya and her co-journalist Alexa to see who will produce the most viewed article. Whoever wins will take her place as editor-in-chief. A few minutes hence, Claudia calls Sanya to her room and tells her that Alexa has been coming up with some great ideas. Sanya tells her that she has ideas too, but Claudia gives her a different task, traveling to India to come up with a feature on different wedding rituals that people still believe in. Given India's colorful culture, Sanya will need to attend 5 Sikh weddings, interview the brides and grooms, and shoot them. But since Sanya's father is Indian and the parents broke up years ago, she's never been a fan of India, least of all reporting on its weddings. After leaving the office of Claudia, Sanya lets her friend and assistant Whitney know about the assignment. Much to the surprise of Sanya, Whitney is in love with the idea and calls it a great opportunity, not only for Sanya to become editor-in-chief, but to visit her father's hometown. Meanwhile, in the Indian state of Punjab, 2 cops, Harba and Gopi, are on patrol. Harba is tired of their routine task since most of what they do is helping elderly people and not catching criminals. After work, Harba calls on his boss, Aftab, and asks him for a more challenging mission. Harba's father was also a police officer and died in line of duty, making him a local hero. Harba's mother has since asked Aftab to keep her son away from risky missions. She has only one son. Because of that, Aftab tasks Harba with a safe job, to accompany and guide Sanya. When Sanya obtained her visa at the Ministry of Information, officials are afraid that she will publish a derogatory article about their traditions. The action subsequently moves elsewhere. Sanya's mother, Mandy, visits Sanya prior to Sanya's journey to India. Mandy gifts her some items, and on learning that Sanya is traveling to Chandigarh, asks her to deliver a package to her dad. After Mandy and Raji broke up, Raji returned to India. Sanya had even once stolen their family photo from him. Raji had requested Mandy many times in the past few years to email him a photo of their daughter, but she never did. Now she is regretful about it, believing that he should know how their daughter turned out. A few days later, Sanya reaches her destination airport. Within a short while of her arrival, someone showers colored powder on her. Angered, she rushes to the police station to complain, without realizing that the cop she head marches to is Harba, who has been allocated to escort her, and his colleague Donald. As they enter the town, Sanya speaks a few words about the city slums, and this upsets Harba slightly because he thinks she's mocking Indian life. This makes Harba speak to her slightly more aggressively. Donald, on the other hand, is polite and chivalrous. In the vehicle, he even informs Sanya of his desire to look for a new job in America. Later, Harba suddenly stops at a temple, or pilgrimage cave, to pray for Sanya's good fortune as a gesture of hospitality. This reminds Sanya of her childhood past, praying with her father, pestering him, and being close to him. While writing, Donald playfully requests Sanya to find him an American beauty to marry so that he can stay in America. A few minutes after that, they arrive at the hotel. According to Sanya's timetable, wedding traditions coverage should begin the very next day. The next morning, Harba and Donald come to take Sanya to the first wedding ceremony, but she suddenly gets a call from her fellow worker Mark that their photographer has been taken ill and she needs to find a replacement. Donald immediately says he knows a man named Parun, who is said to be the top photographer in the town. He dials Parun right away, as Harba makes an offhand commentary about an Indian satellite that failed, but is still being used for telecommunications. A few minutes later, they arrive at the first wedding ceremony, known as the Mendi ceremony. Sanya encounters a young bride, Devika, at the ceremony, where Devika sits with family and friends as she has her hands decorated with henna. Devika invites Sanya to sit with her and answers her questions about the practice. Meanwhile, other members of a community known as the Hijra come into the ceremony to greet the couple with money. They are transgender or intersex, and they show up at weddings as a product of an old Indian practice. In fact, in India, their gender is legally acknowledged as the third gender. Wondering why they're there, Sanya decides to question them, but Harba stops her in time. Sanya remains even more curious, but Harba does not tell her why he had them removed from the ceremony. At the hotel, Sanya tests Whitney over the phone. Whitney tells her that Claudia had liked the quirky shots Parun had taken. Sanya also tells her that she's keen on the hijra topic, but feels Harba is hiding something regarding them. A couple of nights from now, Sanya is invited by Harba to join him to the second ritual, the Sanjit. Traditionally held 1 to 3 days before the actual wedding day, this party is meant to usher in the celebration of love and bring the two families even closer. The atmosphere is usually more modern and celebratory. While celebrating the Sanjit, Sanya meets one of the local singers, Bhavna, and Salman, a young boy who dreams of becoming a singer in Bollywood one day. Salman immediately makes up his mind to get engaged to Bhavna right there and then. Since everyone is in such high spirits, the two make everyone stand up and dance. As time passes, Sanya becomes closer to Harba. In order to get his attention, she starts dressing more fashionably and fearlessly, surprising not just Harba, but also Donald. They venture out one day to shoot the third wedding ritual, called the Chuni ceremony. Once more, Sanya catches sight of members of the Hijra community, but Harba drives them away, just as before. As Sanya enters the house of the bride, she is taken aback to see that the bride is Bhavna. At the ceremony, Bhavna is getting married to a guy named Bhaga, who did his studies in America and is now a doctor. Previously, Bhavna escapes to meet Salman. He begs her to meet her father and call off this arranged engagement. But Bhavna is too afraid, as they come from different religions, and she knows that her family would never approve of the relationship. Sympathizing with Bhavna, Sanya speaks about Salman in front of the families and asks Bhavna straight away if she's in love with Salman. This shocks and angers all. Bhaga finally gets to know that Bhavna is in love with some other person and calls off the wedding. As a result of this incident, Harba is angry with Sanya, accusing her of interfering in their culture and tradition and breaking the bond between the two families. The conflict brings to mind Sanya's parents' incessant arguments concerning traditions and culture, arguments that eventually led to their divorce. When Sanya returns to her hotel room, she looks at her family picture and recalls how, as a child, she prayed that her father would come back to them. But their breakup was not a matter of traditions. Her mother, Mandy, believed that her husband no longer loved her after she lost one of her breasts in cancer surgery. Sad about these memories, Sanya strolls and has a drink. Police patrols, however, recognize her and arrest her. She is presented with a hijra, Sharmila, at the police station who has been detained for undressing herself after she did not receive payment. Curious, Sanya asks Sharmila what really happened to the hijra community. Sharmila tells her she was born with a congenital abnormality and was left to her parents to the hijra community to grow up. The next day, Harba bails Sanya out of jail, but is furious with her, both for drinking in public and for being friends with the hijra. At the same time, Alexa, Sanya's rival, at the magazine, starts sabotaging her. She sends an email to Aftab, warning him that Sanya plans to write a second article on the hijra. When Sanya is ready to go back to work, she learns that her guide for the day is not Harba, but another man named Chel. They go to a temple, or Gurdwara, to cover the Ananda Karaj, the formal Sikh wedding ceremony. Sanya once again meets members of the hijra community after the wedding. Chel throws them out, as always. This time, Sanya gets a chance to talk to the bridegroom's father, and he tells her that a father and daughter have a special bond. After she is done with her mission, Sanya goes back to the hijra camp alone to check on Sharmila, only to find that she has been brutally attacked. Sharmila tells her that the day before, she had gone to work at a shop, but she was teased and she became angry and fought back. At the same time, Aftab calls Harba and explains to him that if Sanya gets anything published regarding the hijra, her laptop will be confiscated. He asks Harba to message Sanya and drop the hijra story because she is only permitted on a visa to report on weddings. The next day, Sanya resumes work with Harba, and tells her that she will no longer write about the hijra. She pens her final wedding, a civil wedding ceremony for a couple named Rafi and Harleen. At the party, Sanya encounters Bhavna once again by chance, who is Harleen's best friend. Bhavna tells her that her father has at last agreed to let her marry Salman, and thanks Sanya for having the courage to stand up to her family. During the trip back, Sanya shows Harba the package her mother had given her and asks for his help in finding out about the address of her father. They visit different neighborhoods the next day, asking around, until they find Sanya's father to be dead. With a broken heart, Sanya prays for her father and remembers how her father, Raji, had told her about reincarnation when she was younger and promised that when he died, he would return as a pigeon so she could recognize him. Harba walks Sanya out that evening at a local market. But then, Aftab calls him and asks Harba to steal Sanya's laptop so that she does not have anything written about the hijra. Harba follows the order, as Aftab promises him that if there is no evidence, Sanya can leave. While Sanya is at the hotel and talking to Whitney, she tries to vet Perun's photos to discover that her laptop is stolen. While Harba struggles with guilt, she returns it. When the issue of hijra is brought up, Sanya catches the individual who stole her laptop. Angry, Sanya explains to him that she had fallen in love with him but no longer knows whether to because of this betrayal. Harba admits he has fallen in love with her too, but assures her that he did it to protect her. While Harba is lost in contemplation about what to do, Aftab calls again and demands that the laptop be brought to his office. But Donald encourages him to tell him that Sanya loves him and that he should go to the airport and confess. Harba receives a second call from Aftab that Sanya herself handed over the laptop. Finally, Aftab decides not to confiscate the laptop and even issues a permit to Sanya to write her article on the hijra. Now that this has been resolved, Sanya informs Harba how she feels and sends all her work to Claudia. Later, Sanya and Harba get married. On the wedding day, there is a pigeon that settles next to Sanya. She thinks it is the ghost of her father, as he had promised.